Today we're going to be reviewing these three ratchets right here from Stanley. We've got 1/4 inch, 3/8, 1/2 inch drive. Each one of these are made in China, fully polished chrome vanadium steel. We got model numbers right here, 89-817, 89-818, 89-819. So this set was used whenever I got it, and I picked it up probably about 8 years ago, and I've used it and abused it since then. And it's actually held up. It's done the job it was intended to do, so it's well worth the price of $20 that I paid for it. But now it's at that moment in time where it's time to get rid of some of these tools. I'm going to be donating a lot of stuff that I got in my tool arsenal because a local company actually needs some help doing some repairs. They need some tools, they need a maintenance guy, so I offered to kind of step up, help them out, train them, and donate some tools to them. But today we're going to specifically focus on these three ratchets right here. I'm going to show you some pros and cons against each one of these, and then I'm going to show you some brand new ones that I picked up in their place. They're your standard run-of-the-mill ratchets, which if you've used these tools before, you already know what the problem is with them, and that's these big bulky reversing switches. Now, that reversing switch sits way down here on the side, so whenever you run your thumb down through here, you're going to easily hit it, which means when you're working, regardless of whatever it is that you're working on, automotive stuff, machines, equipment, boats, whatever the case may be, you're going to accidentally hit that reversing lever. It's going to bump stuff quite frequently. It's going to send you in the opposite direction you're wanting to go in, and that can be problematic for anyone. You could be using your hand, putting it over the whole ratchet right here. You're still going to end up bumping that reversing lever, and it's going to send you in a direction you do not want to go in. It is definitely problematic, even for a basic ratchet. Like I said, I've used these for different things. They was used and abused long before I got them, but whenever I picked them up, I did use them for personal repairs. I loaned them out to my family and friends who needed some tools. Was no problem in that. I took them with me on the Gulf. I went out on the boat. We went out four-wheeling, things of that nature, and these things have come in handy. They did do the job they were intended to do, but there were several times where I would get in the middle of working and I would hit that reversing switch by accident. Then I would end up having to flip it back and forth. Now, sometimes that reversing switch got stuck, and I would end up having to beat on it, bang on it, unstick it, and then go back to work. So if you're trying to hurry and to get a job done, these tools are not going to be the best ones you can buy. The other thing I tell you I do not particularly like about them is these quick release buttons right here. Now, whenever you go to depress that detent ball and release your sockets and stuff, it does work good. It keeps it from accidentally getting bumped and discharging the sockets, but there has been issues where I've been working on something and I go to discharge that socket after some extended use, and that little detent ball would not drop, and whenever it didn't drop, I couldn't get this to go down anywhere, so I would have to once again beat on it, bang on it, spray WD-40 in it in order for this quick release button to go down and disengage those sockets. So it become a problem to quickly exchange them. Each one of these have the two screws that run completely through the gear head right there, runs down into this little plate. Of course, you know that makes it a sealed head design. Sealed head's a little bit better than a snap ring design. The problem that I've noticed here is whenever I take those two screws out, they do have just a smidgen of Loctite on them, so that's no problem whenever they come out. But whenever they go back in, if you try to tighten them up a little bit too tight, and it doesn't take very much at all, it will strip these screws out. If you end up stripping these things out, when you're putting all the pressure on this gear head right here, it's going to probably end up busting the ends of those bolts loose, and your plate's going to fall off along with everything inside your gear head. This is the 1/2 inch drive ratchet. This is the 3/8 drive. Here's the 1/4 inch drive. Now I'm going to compare those sounds to this 1/2 inch drive. Definitely a better sounding ratchet. And then this 3/8 drive. The other two ratchets you just now heard them teeth on is these two right here. Both of these are Stanley. These are the upgraded versions of these old ratchets right here. So I picked this one up for 12 bucks. This one cost about $18. Picked it up for 8 bucks. So it was well worth the price I invested in them. If you look at the newer versions right here, you're going to notice that they did correct some of the mistakes they had on the older versions. That big bulky reversing switch right there is completely gone now. They no longer have that big bulky reversing switch. And as far as the quick release button goes, it is still a nice firm quick release button. It's just a much bigger button. That way it's a little bit easier for you to reach up there and engage it. Whenever you go to use that reversing switch, it's really easy for you to reach up here and just flip it one direction or the other, but you do not have it in the way. It doesn't set up nearly as high, so you're not going to bump it nearly as often as you would on the older model ratchets. You have the exact same model number right here, 89-819, as you can see right there. Do carry a lifetime warranty. All you got to do is get a hold of Stanley Tools, and they will hook you up with that warranty. If you try to get a rebuild kit for certain stuff, it may not work, and that's simply because the design that they got for the new ones do not fit the design for the old ones. And you could tell by turning the teeth right there that there is a definite difference between the old version and the new version here. But if you was to call them up for a warranty, they might send you all the guts you need to put inside of this, but it might not work for you, and that really depends on what it is that you broke inside that gear head. Now this one here is the new one, this one over here is the old one. I want to show you the difference between the two. Whenever you pull the old one off here, you got to be very gentle because there's two little detent balls right inside there. As you see, there's 4 little drilled holes right here. So whenever you grab that selector switch and you rock it back and forth, it's going to take those little tiny detent balls that rest inside of this housing here, so it keeps them held in place. Now as you can see on this one right here, it's got this big huge black circle right here. That is your selector switch housing, and behind it is going to be your pawl. There's going to be this little tiny pin hook and a spring that sits down inside there, and then you got your teeth and your gear head right here. Now this is a completely separate design than what you got to worry about with this one. As you can see, the brand new one also has those 4 little holes, but the gear head assembly is 100% different. This one is a much better design gear head as opposed to the old one right there. You've got your basic small selector switch housing right here. You've got your pin that is spring loaded underneath it here. Then you got your pawl. Now the way that pawl is laid down inside of there, you've got a little flat end on this side of the pawl, and then this little pin sits right on top of it. So whenever you go to rotate this back and forth, it's going to easily drag it back and forth where you need it at. So if you was to get a rebuild kit for this for whatever reason, and they needed to send you this, they would probably send you this, which means they'd send you this to stick inside of this housing on an old ratchet, and it would not fit. For whatever reason you needed a rebuild kit, you would probably end up just sending the entire ratchet in, telling them you needed a new one, because whenever you call in for a warranty, they're basically going to ask you what the part number is right here, and if they go to send you the gearhead assembly, you're basically going to end up getting the pawl, and then you're going to get the anvil, the gears. Now if you needed the reversing switch, the pin, the springs, all that stuff, they might send it to you all together, but it will not fit into this housing simply because that is way too round. I don't know why they put these in these ratchets. I don't know if you could tell it or not. I'll zoom in here for you. But this is made of plastic, a plastic reversing switch housing. And this is just the most pitiful design that I have ever seen in a tool in my life. I mean, whenever it comes down to it, the ratchet is effective. It will work. It will do the job that it is intended to do. But in my opinion, this particular design makes the ratchet weak overall, and it is going to wear out prematurely over extended use and abuse. So you could not use this tool in any type of professional setting. I don't know why they done it. I think they knew better. Maybe it was something experimental they were trying. But Stanley knows better. Stanley Black & Decker is the #1 tool company around the world, and they have a lot of tools under their belt that everybody loves. You would think that they would know better than to build garbage like that, but they have upgraded since then. Like I said, this one's about 8 to 12 years old at least, and this is the newer version that I picked up back in 2019, so they have improved how they design their ratchets, which is a good thing. I would say that the new Stanley products are at least equivalent to a lot of what you're going to find out here on the market in other standard pear head-shaped ratchets. Now, my personal experience since using these tools, like I said, the older ones I bought them used, and I did use them for a wide range of different things. I loaned them out to friends and family. I took them with me on the go. I did a variety of jobs with them. Really, I didn't care if they was broke or not because I didn't have that much invested in them, and that's the type of tools I usually put cheater bars on, things like that. I beat the piss out of them with hammers just to see what they're made of because I could care less if they break or not. But I will tell you this much. I ended up finding out that these tools do have a limitation. I would not recommend the Stanley products beyond a do-it-yourself maintenance style capacity. I do not think that they will handle a whole lot of different use and abuse as far as the ratchets go. Now, sockets that I bought from Stanley have handled some extensive use and abuse, but as far as these ratchet goes, at least the older design right here, these are very weak. They are inferior opposed to other tools out here on the market. So the ultimate questions here would be, would you buy the Stanley products? Are they worth the price that you paid for them? That's what I tried to determine reviews on. I have used and abused these. I am still currently using and abusing these newer versions right here. And I like to ask myself a few different questions. Is these tools worth the price that I paid for them? Are they worth the retail price that people are asking for them? Or is there better options for other tools out here on the market? Then Then you got to determine what's the name brand, what's the warranty on it, is it easy to go down and get it, is it easy access, can you go down to your local store and pick something up, do you have to order it online? You got to factor those things in depending on what it is that you're looking for. Whenever it comes down to the Stanley products, they used to be in stores at Walmart all the time. You could pick them up at a few different locations. Right now in my local area, there is nowhere else I can buy the Stanley products, so if I'm going to buy Stanley, I have to buy it online, which means if I need to warranty this product, I'm going to have to warranty it online. I don't have no stores I can go to. I'd have to call them up, get them to send me the guts, the parts, and all that kind of stuff. So if I was to buy this product as opposed to the gear wrench product, that would be a disadvantage for me to buy the Stanley. The gear wrench is just as good. It's nice and durable. If I break it, need it warranted, I can easily go to my local CarQuest, Advance, or a few other locations. They would honor the warranty on that product. They'd give me a new one. Now, the gear wrench is going to be $5 more. I'd still go with the gear wrench simply because I got more experience with the gear wrench as well. That factors into how I buy stuff because I want something I can walk in and out of the store and have it in my hand. I don't want to have to deal with the hassle of fighting with somebody to get a warranty, worrying about if it's going to come in the mail or not, or if they're going to send me the right thing. You got to ask yourself those types of questions, and that's one reason why a lot of people like Harbor Freight, because you can buy something at Harbor Freight. If you break it, you can go to any Harbor Freight anywhere in America. They will warranty it. They'll give you a new one. They'll make sure that you took care of. A couple weeks back over on Instagram, I posted this exact ratchet right here side by side with a picture of a brand new Craftsman ratchet. And I can pretty well say that it looks like a Stanley ratchet rebranded with the Craftsman name, and if that's the case, I'd be paying $10 more on average for that ratchet because of the Craftsman name. Craftsman name means you can get it warranted at a wide variety of different locations. You're not going to be able to get the Stanley product warranted at quite as many locations, so it's going to cost you about $10 less, but it might be just as good of a product. That's for you to decide. Now we're going to try the old one out right here. This one's the old one, as you can see. It functions fine. It works just like any other standard ratchet. But the problem that always persists right here is going to be that reversing lever. I have had issues where it got stuck just like it's right here, right in the middle, and it's not designed to do that. And it's basically doing that because of that crappy little plastic housing on the inside. It's a little bit too loose. The gear head itself is a little bit too loose. It will get jammed up and stuck on you. Once again, with that quick release button, the quick release button is already jammed up and stuck right there. So I have to beat on it, bang on it just to get it loose. Now when it comes to the new design on Stanley, this is nice and smooth. This is a much better operating ratchet. It feels a lot better. The reversing switch works perfectly fine. The quick release button works perfectly fine. You can easily exchange them. Goes right back on, goes right back to work. So I do believe that Stanley has done a pretty good job on these, and I think now that they've got this design, they've got their gear head assembly fixed up a little bit, they've improved it some, that is probably worth the price you'll be paying for them. Around $16 to $18 for this 3/8 drive right here, and about $20 for that 1/2-inch drive. They are a pretty good quality product, and if you're going to use them for something like do-it-yourself work, maintenance style work, I don't think you'll have a bit of problem using them in a do-it-yourself capacity.